Are you a parent who's a little bit weight obsessed, maybe even perfection obsessed? Like my kids have to eat a certain way, it has to be healthy, they can't have sugar, fill it in. And you have a lot of rules and restrictions about food, about weight, about how we're supposed to be. If this is you, but you're feeling called to maybe slow that down and end it, stick around for this conversation where we discuss what it's like to grow up like this and how to slow it down and reverse it for the generations to come. My name is Leslie Urbis. I'm a registered dietitian and a personal trainer. And today in this conversation, I have my friend Susan on here with me. And I'd like to welcome Susan here. Susan, tell me a little bit more about your journey, wherever you'd like to start in the conversation of growing up in a house very similar to this.
I can start probably in my teens. I have two sisters, and we were always dieting. My father was really obsessed with being thin, and so he made the whole family, like, gosh, I remember Atkins. I remember all sorts of weird powder shakes that go into diet soda. Um, and so the message I got growing up was, you have to be skinny, you have to be skinny, you have to be skinny. And I tried and tried and tried, and I was really thin, but I didn't even know where to stop. One time I had dieted so much that I didn't have the nutrition or muscle to lift my head because I was trying to be so skinny. So
Wow,
it
yeah.
yeah, it had a profound effect on my relationship with food. Um, and that's the start of it. As an adult, I used food for comfort, so that was kind of the backlash of growing up like that.
Yeah. So with the first piece that you talked about, there was a lot there. So what we don't notice as parents is the things that we do that our kids just pick up, They just pick up very easily. So your dad, who may or may not have really known or thought, he was forcing you to be skinny in a way or forcing you to have this relationship, right? He, thinking maybe he's doing his best, did whatever, we always want to give our parents the quality of life that we think that they had our best interest in heart, right? But he programmed you to be so weight obsessed that it led you to this point of like, I could barely lift my head up because I was not nourishing my body. And I think what is so overlooked is that in today's world, that's huge because of all the like before after pictures and the weight loss story and people like how fast can you lose the weight after you have a baby and how much can you look like that part already and how much can your motherly body look unlike a mother, right? Dad bod became such a cool thing, but it's not like anybody's like, here's my mom bod and that's embraced, right? Yes, we have the different size models and things like that, but we're missing that. So I'm curious, if you could go back and ask your dad or to have somebody else say that, what would be something you would have liked to hear around nutrition, around food, around body weight?
I would have liked to have kind of opened the door and let other people's opinions in. My father was very controlling, and I know this was what he was taught, so I'm not necessarily blaming him. It's just, this is where I am on the food chain. I was below him. And I I would like just like general knowledge. So I'm older. I'm this is the year I turned 60. So I kind of came from that children should be seen and not heard era. And I would have liked a voice. I would have liked to say, I think I'm thin enough. I don't think I need to look like a skeleton. Um I would have liked to have just been accepted for the weight that I was, which was a healthy weight.
I love that. I love that. So, you know what I'm hearing, and immediately after this episode in 2 days on my YouTube channel, I'm going to post a video on having a conversation with your kids about what good nutrition comes from because your father raised you that skinny is the key, right? Skinny is the key. It wasn't healthy is the key, it's skinny is the key. And now we're programming our children with sugar is bad and we must have this nutrition and we must have this good food and we must I have this book that's called Dragons Love Farts. It's a hilarious book. I absolutely love this book, reading it with my son. But there's a page in the book that's like, dragons love cheese or queso or something like that just as much. And then it's like, it talks about putting a hole in the ozone layer like the cows. And I was like, I'm gonna drop that 2 sentence. Okay. I'm not gonna put that 2 sentence as a instillment in my children's head at this moment. But the shame and the guilt that you kind of carried on for, like, my weight is this number, with him telling you every single day, my weight is this, put you in a, okay, well, this number means a lot. This number has a weight. This number is my worth.
Yes,
If this is not in an okay standpoint, I'm not worthy because I'm fat, or I am too skinny, or I'm whatever. And maybe too skinny wasn't the thought. It was just not to be fat, right?
absolutely. Fat was he my father was not a nice man, and he would, gosh, the jokes he made about fat people. And then his daughter grew up, and after I left him, I got fat.
Mm.
So we never talked about it, but I could always feel the judgment.
Yeah, yeah. And that's the thing. I love this because whether it's, us as a parent, we're trying not to place so much on our own weight, okay? And we're trying not to give our kids the things. Maybe that's the thing. I'm trying not to give my kids the worry and the shame and the guilt around weight like I carried. And maybe I'm trying to do that, but I know subconsciously I'm still doing that, right? But that's why I'm saying, sugar is bad for me. Like, I don't want you to have a weight issue because I struggled with my weight the whole life. So sugar is bad for you. And I'm going to teach you sugar is bad for you because I don't want you to eat it. But then, very much like yourself, you were like, I just want to hear my body's okay. But now my weight has to be within a certain range. So now the kid's like, I have to nix sugar. And then comes peer pressure, right? The peer pressure to enjoy, when mom and dad go to bed, raiding the refrigerator, right? Okay. Or
Yeah.
when all that kind of stuff, the fun stuff of staying up late in friends' houses, and then it's like college, like, what is alcohol but sugar, right? So then you build this immense guilt, right? Of, I'm consuming the thing my parents told me not to. And because it was something that was placed in us so young, the
Oh,
guilt holds a weight, which is why you then turn to using food as comfort.
absolutely. And I knew my relationship with food was unhealthy. I got to the point where, it's like I didn't even know what hunger felt like anymore because I kept trying to soothe myself with food. So when I decided I was going to get healthy, I tried to purge his programming and go back to, that's what, like, push him out of my head and go to the building blocks of, there are fats, carbs, and proteins, and how I put those into my body is up to me.
Yeah. And I like how you said that because, a mentor of mine, David Nagel, said that when we're growing up, we are literally a carbon copy of our parents.
Mhm.
But at some point when we're like, I don't want to be you, we become the polar opposite, which doesn't make us not their carbon copy. We're the same thing on the same plane, right? Because of the law of polarity. We're just on two opposite sides now. So they still dictated who we are. So
Yes.
you're going to the opposite side to reclaim that life, still made you a piece of that until you could claim it and use it the way that you are now. And
Right.
that's what's interesting, is that we think we're always doing our best as parents, right? We're always doing our best. But when that moment clicks in of like, I want to raise my children to make firm, good decisions themselves. I'm a mother to a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old, and you'll never hear me say anything bad about sugar food. Whenever somebody says it, I literally nix them in front of me. I'm like, I understand that that's what you were taught as a dietitian. I'd love to educate you. There is no difference. We're talking different nutritional value. And that's because I want my kids to see and to know, like, I want them to see me refuting it being in their brain, because I don't want them to have that. Just like when somebody gives them shame and guilt for, spilling water, I'm like, no, it's a spill. I'm 38 years old. I still spill. Sometimes I spill 7 times in a day. And I'm like, what's up with me today? Like, do I not want to get it in a cup? Do I want to clean up a bunch of messes? Like those days where you're like, okay, maybe I just need to put the cup in a straw and, like, attach it. Thank God I got this thing. So, but yeah, so we become the polar opposite. So when you started to become the polar opposite and were using food for comfort, what really got you to that point of, I just want my body to be my body?
It was a series of I was in a job I didn't like. I was a pharmacist, that really it was a lot of responsibility and it was really stressful. And so that to comfort myself during that, I got really heavy. And then in 2019, I retired, and then it was like, okay, I have the time. I don't have this job anymore. I can reclaim me. And part of the me was I didn't feel good. I was overweight. I even got diagnosed with diabetes, but I never believed them. So
Mhm.
I just once I got that diagnosis, I decided I would change the way I was eating. Um, I was so depressed, I didn't really care for a while. And when I got to the point where, okay, here I am, I'm on my own and it's my responsibility totally. I don't have any kids. I don't have any family really. So I got to be isolated and in control. And so I decided that I would just listen to my body. And that's what I've been doing ever since. And the weight is just kind of falling off of me because I'm not listening to sugar's bad, this chemical's bad, this chemical will help you. It's if you pay attention to what's in the media and everywhere, you will get 10 million messages. And who do you choose? So I decided, well, I've got a good background. I'm going to choose me. So that's how I have been approaching regaining my health. And I am to the point where I feel so much better than I did. In 2019, I was really sick. And now it's 2024 and I'm finally getting to the place where my body is happy.
I love it. Yeah, I really like that. As a dietitian, as a dietitian, my curious question for you is what was when you were working, what was one of the things that stood out to you the most that let you know that you knew enough about the body to do it on your own?
Um, I it's hard to say. My career at the end, I was working a lot of hours. I had Monday through Friday. Um, I had worked less in the beginning. So I got to the point where I gosh, I'm having a hard time answering this question. I always knew that I needed healthy habits. And one of the healthy habits I did was it was hard to park where I worked. And so I would bicycle to work. And
Hmm.
um, I worked a weird shift. I worked like right in the middle of the day. My hours were 10:30 in the morning to 7 at night. And so I basically lived my job. And I knew that the biking was helping. And so the food part I didn't tackle. And then once I retired, I was in a relationship that wasn't going very well. And so I had to take care of that before I could take care of me. And once I got squared away with that, I just thought back to all of the stuff that I had done while I was working. I did um, intravenous nutrition.
Yeah,
I did that for a long time. I did that for all 30 years. So that
that's
was
awesome.
yeah. So I
I
think with
love TPN still to
oh,
this day.
TPN, oh gosh, yeah, the vitamins and the
I
stinky
love
vitamins,
it all.
uh,
I love it all.
the lipids. So I feel like I have an excellent knowledge of nutrition.
I mean, doing TPN for sure. I'm not going to deny that. That's my favorite as a dietitian. I don't do that anymore, obviously, because I work, as a dietitian for myself. But that was my favorite in the hospital. And they were like, "We need a TPN." I'm like, "Yes, can't
Oh yeah.
wait to use the knowledge."
And see,
Yeah,
I've worked with a lot of dietitians. So
yeah,
yeah, yeah. So that's why I feel like I have great knowledge. I just needed the time and the mental capacity to use it. And here I am doing it. So
yeah. So I wanted to bring that into this because so many people are like, "I'm going to do this on my own," and then they fail and they build up their failure box. instead of their success box, right? And so then we just give it up. We throw in the towel. Why can't I do this? Because you've literally conditioned your mind that you will fail, right? So that's where, what you're describing is really what I teach in the digestion codes. It's all what is happening on the inside, what's happening mentally. With the programming you have of your weight has to be a certain way, and then you flipping the programming to be the polar opposite. Your brain doesn't know, am I supposed to be skinny? Am I supposed to be fat? Am I supposed to be healthy? Am I supposed to be unhealthy? Like, what am I really supposed to be? Just tell me, give me a script. I don't know. And so it depends. So you're in like a constant battle, right? But because you're so aware, that this is going on, and you're able to stop it. But most people don't know that that's underlying in their brain. And the same with like the Oreo does have power over us. The Oreo does, because we gave the Oreo power, and it sounds so funny. But that's where once you have the tools and the knowledge about your body and what's happening on the inside, you truthfully know what's happening on the inside if you're doing somebody's TPN. For people that don't know what that is, she basically is helping when somebody cannot eat and we need to give them nutrition through their veins instead of through their gut. That's what she's doing, is she's helping them. That is one of the most, like, you can mess that up really easily. You can mess it up really easily. You can really cause some issues with that. That's why I never wanted to work with babies as a dietitian, because I mean, you mess up their calories, you really messed up. You mess up with a person's calories like 200, you're okay. It's neither here nor there. But fats and lipids and all the stuff, that's amazing. So I'm pointing that out there because as she chose to work with herself, it's because she had the knowledge. But it's nothing wrong if you go to get help, if you uncover your digestion code and then use those tools to grow yourself, so you can be, like, I'm not going to eat that. I am going to eat this. This is what's right for me. I'm going to say no to that. And that's what's going to be amazing for you. So thank you, Susan. I really enjoyed this conversation. I am sure it helped so many people. For those of you that are watching, please feel free, like, share, subscribe to the channel. Would love to have any comments that you have for this for me or for Susan. I can always ask her personally for her, as well as if you're interested in uncovering your digestion code, if you're interested in learning more, all of my links are below. There's a free masterclass, a free book. There's a way for you to uncover your code in a one-to-one call with me. Lots of ways for you to uncover what's really happening on the inside of your body. And I look forward to seeing you there. For now, we will see you on the next one. We hope that you have a great rest of your day. And of course, just bye for now.